a rioter who people might remember for wearing a Camp Auschwitz sweatshirt with the word staff on the back when he stormed the Capitol, was just sentenced in D.C. And I mentioned that sweatshirt because it came up in court, right?
It did indeed, and it's a tricky area because, of course, there is the First Amendment that gives you the right to, wear a very offensive T-shirt like that. But the judge actually did say in this case that he thinks it helped illustrate the intent, and this individual, Robert Packer, did not actually make any comments publicly before the court, and that's his right as well. But basically, did not explain why he was wearing that shirt and sort of left it up to his lawyer to sort of muddle around that and not really give a clear explanation. That didn't really fly so well with the judge, who didn't really see a full-throated apology necessarily coming from Packer. It was all sort of secondhand things that they got from his sister and the representations of his lawyer. But, there was this other image that actually did come up in court that NBC News surfaced last night that showed Packer what he was wearing underneath that sweatshirt earlier in the day when he was with that sister who wrote that letter closer to Donald Trump's speech. He was wearing an SS shirt that, directly was supportive of the Nazis. So there are two layers of pro-Nazi materials that he was wearing that day, and presumably walked into the Capitol with that underneath that Camp Auschwitz outer sweatshirt that he wore, Haley.
75 days, yeah?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. And actually, Stephen Ayers, also the Justice Department, just recommended 60 days for him. Stephen Ayers was the individual who testified before the January 6th committee back in July. He was the writer they had before them. And speaking of picking up on what Barbara said in terms of inconsistent statements, the Justice Department represents in their filing that the story that he told to the January 6th committee is inconsistent with what he said, the story he agreed to in his plea agreement. Because in his plea agreement, he says he's only there for 10 minutes, but based on the story he told on Capitol Hill, he was there for much longer than that, Ellie. So that's going to be an issue for him potentially when he gets sentenced next week.